Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fizzy Fox TV here, and I'm back at it again with another YouTube video. And today we're going to be discussing the downfall of Street Fighter X Tekken. You know, I have a lot to talk about regarding Street Fighter X Tekken because there's so many directions they could have took. But being that it released in like 2012 and stuff like that, around 2011, 2012 era and stuff like that, and it was something that we've all wanted as fans as a crossover from a lot of our favorite fighting game titles. And it was fun to see you know, how the Tekken characters played in the Street Fighter universe and what, Capcom did. Because, you could see the vision. You could see what, direction they were trying to take. And I can honestly say this is actually, how can I put this? Street Fighter X Tekken wasn't a terrible game mechanically necessarily, even though it did have some mechanical, malfunctions. Because I wasn't really a fan of a lot of the 2D directions. I didn't mind it really being that, even though it would have been nice to see them in the Tekken universe and seeing how they played like that, because that would have been more of the challenge of the game. It would have been for them to expand upon their creativity with that, And I know it probably would have taken a lot of time because it's hard to render those characters into the Tekken universe, knowing that it's a strictly 3D fighting game and Street Fighter is a strictly 2D fighting game. So, but it became one of the most controversial and disliked crossover fighters with a few major mistakes. Like I said from the beginning, I did see the vision. Everybody saw the vision of what this could have potentially been. The cinematic trailers, though, everything that they did and how they promoted it was very well. That's what got people driven into the game to, begin with. And I don't honestly think, guys, even though it would have been fun to see them in the Tekken universe, because that's what we were expecting, coming down to the cinematic trailer, looking very amazing, and us getting that, it was a kind of a slap in the face. And even though us seeing it, before even the game release, because I'm pretty sure there's footage out there at a gameplay somewhere, of them showing how the game is going to look before it comes out and stuff like that at some form of game con or something. I'm not sure, but y'all guys got to look that up. But it's somewhere on the internet. But I'm pretty sure, guys, they wanted the best for this game. I just feel like Capcom didn't give it the love that it was supposed to give it. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like Capcom on their end could have did a lot more, but also I do feel like this was a very rushed game as well. Seeing the time that it released, and also, we had Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which also dominated a lot of tournaments, as well. That had amazing tournament presence for the time period as well, and nothing was topping that, because that was very big. You know what I'm saying? Coming down to Dead or Alive 5 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2, those games was undefeated in the 3D fighting game genre and stuff like that at the time, and it's fighting games in general, and it was up there with Ultra Street Fighter 4 and all that other stuff too. That was back when the lineups were actually pretty, amazing. And Street Fighter X Tekken, what it lacked in the competitive field is that every character that was on Tekken's side is it was just really wasn't balanced the right way. A lot of them wasn't traditionally how they were supposed to be. Like, they kept some characters traditionally in a 2D form the best way that they could, but it's all about experimenting. It's all about seeing what works. Though I'm not a gaming developer, I do feel like, this could have a strong comeback in the future, and I hope to actually see another crossover just so that they can redo it, because the closest that we've gotten to a crossover is having Akuma in Tekken 7, and he played pretty well. But I know that took so much time, and they're going to have to create a whole new engine, Tekken. So, guys, you got to understand, this game wasn't just only rushed and they were really trying to please their fans and give them what they want, because, this was a very big crossover. This was like probably one of the biggest of the time period, because, it's been a while since we even seen something as big, and then we wound up getting Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and other amazing titles, and then we wound up getting Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate, and that just perfected and completed the whole Marvel vs. Capcom trilogy. And it just makes me very happy, that in certain ways, you can actually see that they tried, but it is actually kind of hard now that I think about it, because to take Tekken characters and put them in Street Fighter, I don't think that anybody can do it but the team and but Capcom. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they were trying something new, and you can see the direction they wanted to take, but there were flaws, and I didn't really like the engine as much either. You know what I'm saying? But there were still some very special moments of the game, you know. What a lot of people have to understand about the time period of when this released and stuff like that is also how hard and how much time it takes to actually develop a game like that, you know. And it impresses me because at the end of the day, they tried something that they never tried before. I mean, like, you know, there was times where, you know, I mean, I can't even think of another, you know, 2D fighting game that has done that for a 3D fighting game either. So y'all got to give Capcom their credits and their flowers because I haven't seen it done until Capcom has done it. And you know what? You got to give them props because at least they really tried. I mean, and I feel like they could do better in the future, not for nothing, when it comes down to even how they even did Akira, you know, from Street Fighter V and stuff like that, and a couple of other DLC characters that they had and stuff. You know, Capcom has a lot of potential in how they do things because, you know, they are the blueprint of 2D fighting games. And at the end of the day, a lot of these different types of fighting game franchises have ripped and took off of Street Fighter. Yes, Street Fighter has ripped off of a lot of other series too, but I don't think that as a whole, no, they are the originators of this. They are the people who made this amazing. You know what I'm saying? Made this poppin', made this popular in general of a concept like that, and going down to character designs and going down to inspirations of different types of variations of Chun-Li's and different types of fighting games. And, you know, and because, you know, Chun-Li is the first to do it. And I'm sorry to say it, guys, but she is the first to do it. And, you know, it's kind of hard to discredit Capcom when it comes down to certain things because then again, it's like, you know, even though they haven't been on they, you know, their best behavior lately because there's a lot of things I want to talk about with Capcom and, you know, the direction that they're taking because, you know, there's been a lot of stuff coming out in the gaming community concerning Capcom as a whole, though. You know, they have been on, you know, some bull crap recently. But that's a topic for another day, you know what I'm saying, for another video, because there is a lot I have to say, you know, when it comes down to Capcom and stuff. But, you know, the downfall of Street Fighter X Tekken, though, is also, I feel like, the lack of care for any, you know, updates or I'd say like patches or them attempting to try and fix the game in some sort of way so that it's more stable to playing, you know, competitive tournaments and stuff like that. Because that's the one thing that actually did surprise me. I was like, damn, you know, it's kind of ironic, but, you know, I've seen games make, you know, these type of decisions and take these directions before. And honestly, I'm not even mad that it exists. I'm just mad at the simple fact that it wasn't what we expected. But in the future, this is just my advice. No matter how long it takes before y'all make another crossover, make sure that we see them in the Tekken universe and, you know, try y'all best and y'all hardest because, you know, this is about to be a whole completely new engine. You know, developing these things aren't easy, guys. We got to also understand that as well. As much as we want these things, we got to also understand the process, how long it may take, and we have to have the fans, you know, reach out. We got to, you know, support. We got to actually, you know, if we want these things, like I said in previous videos, closed mouths don't get fed. And as a community, if we really want these things, we have to all come together and support so that we can have these installments that, you know, we felt like was unfinished or felt like, you know, they just needed a little bit more love. But you know what, guys? This pretty much sums it up for the downfall of Street Fighter X Tekken video. I enjoyed making this a lot because it's one of my favorites. But, you know, even though it has a lot wrong with it, I do feel like they should make a comeback and they can, you know, and I hope to see it in the future one day. So, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to click that notification bell so you guys are notified every time that I upload. And don't forget to follow my Facebook and my Discord so you guys can always stay connected as a community. And deuces.